Brexit. It's been a hot topic of debate, and as the date of Britain's scheduled exit from the European Union looms closer, the debates are getting more heated. Hundreds of thousands of anti-Brexit protesters recently took to the streets outside Parliament to demand a second referendum. It's been over 3 years since the referendum of June 2016, which saw only 48% of UK citizens voting to remain in the EU. 52% voted to leave. But have the ongoing years of debate and negotiations changed their minds? To answer this question, we surveyed over 3,500 UK citizens to find out what the current sentiment is, and while many of the results stayed fairly in line with the 2016 referendum, some of the results surprised us. Our survey revealed that 54% of voters would still choose to leave the EU, slightly up from the 52% that voted in the original referendum in 2016. Only 46% of those we surveyed would choose to remain, slightly down from the 48% in the original referendum. Interestingly, in our survey, men were 12% more likely to vote leave than women were, with 60.7% of men voting to leave compared to 54.5% of women. The overwhelming majority of leave voters, a whopping 87%, were aged over 45. Leave won the majority of votes in England and Wales, which is closely in line with the 2016 referendum. In 2016, 53% of voters in England chose leave, compared to 57% in our survey, while 52.5% of voters in Wales chose leave, compared to 54.5% in our survey. Only 38% of voters chose leave in 2016, and while this has climbed slightly in our survey to 41%, it's clear that the majority of voters would still rather remain. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland voted to remain in 2016, with only 44% of voters choosing to leave. In our survey, this climbed to 49.5%, indicating the possibility that Northern Ireland could vote to leave in a second referendum. Local results paint an interesting picture, with Stoke-on-Trent voting a massive 78% to leave, up from 69% in 2016, and Birmingham on the other end of the spectrum voting 61% to remain, up from 49% in 2016. Interestingly, Bristol voted to remain in 2016, with only 38% voting leave. This increased significantly in our survey, with 51% voting leave. Manchester also seems to have had a change of heart, with only 39% voting leave in 2016 compared to 65% in our survey. In 2016, Leeds saw an almost 50-50 split, with only a slight advantage to remain, but in our survey, leave voters climbed to 57%. The outcome of our survey suggests that a second referendum will be unlikely to reveal wildly different results. However, it's impossible to know for sure. What is your opinion on Brexit? Should there be a second referendum? Would you vote differently if there was? Let us know in the comments.